Hey everyone, welcome back to English Podcast 2.0. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're tuning in during your coffee break, your commute, or just looking for a moment to relax and practice English, you've come to the right place. In today's episode, we've got something special for you, a cozy, story-filled journey that'll not only improve your English, but also remind you of the importance of slowing down and enjoying life's little moments. It's all about connecting through conversation, sharing memories, and of course, practicing English naturally. So grab your favorite drink, find a comfy spot, and let's dive into the story. By the end, you'll not only feel more confident with your English speaking skills, but you'll also be reminded of how powerful, simple, everyday conversations can be. Let's get started. Thanks for being a part of English Podcast 2.0. It was a bright Saturday morning, and the sun was already shining through my window. You know that feeling when the weekend arrives and you get that sense of freedom? The kind of freedom that tells you, today you can do whatever you want. That's exactly how I felt. I stretched and yawned, enjoying the quietness of the morning. The world was still calm, and everything seemed to be in slow motion. I made my way to the kitchen, opened the cupboard, and grabbed a coffee mug. A warm cup of coffee sounded perfect right now. It's funny how something as simple as coffee can feel so comforting, don't you think? I'm one of those people who can't really start the day without coffee. It's not just about the caffeine, it's the routine, the warmth, the smell. And the first sip, that's when the day really begins. As the coffee brewed, I stood by the kitchen counter looking out the window. I saw people walking their dogs, kids playing in the park, and cars driving by. It was one of those moments when you realize how much life is going on around you. Everything is moving, but there you are, just standing still, enjoying the little things. And then I remembered that I had plans to meet up with an old friend later. We hadn't seen each other in years. We used to hang out all the time back in school, but life had changed. Time passed, and people drifted apart. But somehow we reconnected recently, and today was the day we were finally going to catch up. I poured the coffee into my favorite mug, a simple white cup with a small blue pattern on the side. I took a sip, feeling the warmth spread through me. As I drank, I thought about all the things we used to talk about when we were younger. There was always something exciting to chat about. New ideas, dreams for the future, and even just silly things that didn't really matter. But it was fun to talk about anything. When the time came, I got ready. I threw on a jacket, checked myself in the mirror, and left the house. It was a short walk to the cafe where we agreed to meet. The air outside was crisp and the streets were quiet. I love moments like these, when the world seemed calm and the only sound you could hear was the rustling of leaves or footsteps on the sidewalk. As I arrived at the cafe, I looked around for my friend. I spotted her sitting at a table near the window. She looked exactly the same, but somehow different. Time had passed and we had both changed in our own ways. But there was something comforting about seeing her again. It was like no time had passed at all. I waved, and she smiled. We exchanged greetings and sat down. We both ordered coffee, of course, and then began talking. The conversation started easily, with little remarks about life, work, and the usual small talk. At first it felt a little strange. We hadn't seen each other in so long, and there was that awkward silence you sometimes get when you try to reconnect with someone from your past. But as soon as we started sharing memories from school, all the old feelings came back. We laughed about the silly things we used to do, the places we used to go, and the friends we had in common. "You remember the time we went to that park and tried to take that group photo?" she asked, laughing. I smiled, trying to remember. "Oh, yes. We must have taken 100 pictures, and none of them turned out right. The camera was always out of focus, or someone blinked." We laughed together, and for a moment, it felt like we were back in those carefree days, not worrying about anything at all. But as the conversation went on, we started to talk more seriously about the changes in our lives. "You know," she said after a pause, "life has been really different since we last talked. Work's been busy, and honestly, I've been struggling to balance everything: career, family, and just me time." I nodded, understanding exactly what she meant. It's something we all deal with at some point. Life can get so busy, and it feels like there's always something else to do. You're always thinking about the next thing, the next meeting, the next deadline, or even the next thing on your to-do list. But what about yourself? When do you take a break? When do you just slow down and enjoy life? That's been tough for me too, I admitted. I've been trying to find time to relax, but I feel like there's always something pulling me in a million directions. We talked about finding balance and how hard it is to make time for the things that matter. We both agreed that it's easy to get caught up in the daily grind, and sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. But in that moment, sitting at that cafe, it felt good to just be present. No pressure, no rush, just two old friends catching up over coffee. As the conversation continued, I realized how much I missed moments like this. Simple moments where you don't have to do anything except enjoy the company of someone you care about. You know, the kind of moments that remind you of the importance of taking a break from everything, of just slowing down for a little while. After a few hours of chatting, we decided to take a walk together in the park nearby. It was a beautiful day, and the sun was starting to set, casting a golden glow over everything. We walked around, talking more about life, our plans for the future, and everything in between. We shared more laughs, and just like that, the awkwardness disappeared. It felt so good to reconnect, to remember what it was like to have deep conversations with someone who understands you. It wasn't about having a perfect plan or figuring out all the answers. It was about being in the moment and enjoying the simplicity of it all. As we walked back to our cars, we said our goodbyes and promised to keep in touch. We'd made plans to meet again soon, and that made me happy. It was strange how something so simple, just meeting up for coffee, could change your entire mood. It made me think about how much we all need to make time for the people we care about, to make time for ourselves, and to take breaks in our busy lives. That day, I learned something important. No matter how busy life gets, you need to take those breaks, those moments, and appreciate them. Whether it's over a cup of coffee or a walk in the park, those little moments of connection are the ones that truly matter.